This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined by Sugar Hill, trainer of Tyson Fury. Sugar, Happy New Year, if I'm still allowed to say that and it's not too late. Nice to see you.
Nope, Happy New Year. It's the first time we talk, so everything's A-OK.
Excellent. So, what have you been up to, Sugar? We've seen various little snippets of training here and there, but you're back over on the East Coast now in America. Talk to us about what you've been up to the last few weeks.
I've been staying fit as a fiddle, you know, healthy as a trout.
Game as a pebble.
Game as a pebble. Something about a butcher's dog.
I think these are all things that obviously you've learned from Tyson. Are you acclimatized now to the British slang and terminology?
Yeah, a bit more than I was. You know, I spent 2.5 months over there, so I had to learn something.
Let's jump straight in, Sugar. Tyson Fury, where are we at the minute with Tyson? Obviously, we don't have any announcements at the minute. What's his status as we speak currently?
Just training. He's always training, staying fit, staying ready, just as a fighter is supposed to do, being in his field, and that's a lifestyle for him. He enjoys it, and I'm happy that he's enjoying it. I don't have any news on anything you would probably know before I would know. I'm not so much on the boxing web pages. I'm not so much talking to trying to negotiate deals and things like that. I just wait for a phone call. Someone tells me it's time to fight, and then that's it.
Talk to us a little bit about working with Tyson last year. As I mentioned to you briefly before we started the interview, the only time I spoke to you was before the Deontay Wilder rematch. Of course, that fight went pretty well for yourself and Tyson Fury. Talk to us about the whole experience of working with Tyson.
Yeah, that fight was okay. It should have been the third round. The third round, second round. Should have been the second round. So it went okay. It wasn't as planned. So I guess that would make us both some liars. Yeah.
Talk to us about kind of the build up to the fight and ultimately what we saw on the night. I've spoken to Andy Lee, who is of course part of the training team, somebody that you go back many, many years with. And he's kind of given me his post-fight assessment of it. What's your post-fight assessment of what we saw that night?
The post-fight assessment was pretty much just how it went the night of the fight, except for it wasn't the second round. So, yeah, it's a little noisy over there for you, huh?
yeah. I'm currently in a gym, so I'm just hiding away from all of the noise. Do beg your pardon there. I'm going to jump in. I watched you do an interview the other day. I didn't watch all of it because it was quite long.
It was 4 hours, so it was 4 hours and something. I set a new record, I guess. At least I did something right.
Talk to us about some of the content in that interview. Now, obviously, a lot of it's come from kind of the post-fight allegations, as it were, surrounding Tyson Fury. Just your thoughts on that, as somebody who's obviously been around the sport for a number of years with your uncle and so forth and other fighters.
Well, Rob, I thought it was very interesting to, I guess, to hear the things I was hearing. Just very interesting. I don't have any feelings one way or another about it as far as anything personal. I mean, I feel that people had questions they wanted to ask. They wanted answers. People had opinions they wanted to voice, and they were able to do both. Yeah, that's about pretty much it. That's not like an interview like that I was, that's memorable, so to say. So it was just something, a new experience.
Is that something that you've ever encountered before in your career? As I said, you've worked with various fighters over the years, your uncle, etc. Is that something that you've ever encountered before or been accused of before?
No, not accused. No, I've never been accused of anything like that or accused, period. But maybe it wasn't said to me. Maybe I was accused of something before, but it wasn't said or brought out to me in that manner. And yeah, it was quite different. Being over the internet and discussing issues like that. Don't really know what to say about all that stuff. It's in the past. It was everybody had their turn. As you can see, I You know, I didn't shy away from anybody's question. I told them to put more people on there. It didn't matter to me. It was going to be the same answers, the same everything. There was nothing else to do, anything more or less to say about the whole situation and the questions.
Yeah, I think it's very well said. And seeing as it was quite a while ago, and I have no real interest in kind of continuing to go over old ground, let's talk about kind of not necessarily the future, but what followed afterwards.
I was a therapist. I'm a certified therapist. That's what I am.
So about work.
They got a chance to talk to me. I got a chance. People feel better about themselves a bit more now because they got a chance to voice themselves to me or to just the whoever's listening. And I guess maybe that was great. Hopefully I helped some people out there.
Hopefully you did. Hopefully it's the last we hear of it. I'm not sure it will be, but we'll see. Tyson last year, obviously he everybody, I mean, it's so far long ago now, but everybody was expecting the trilogy in July, then everything got delayed. Are you glad for the extra time to work with him? I know you're not with him now, but I know that you had an extra bit of time in the gym throughout last year. You didn't have a lot of time to work with Tyson going into the Wilder rematch.
I enjoy working with Tyson regardless to if there's a fight coming up or if there's not a fight coming up. We have a good time together, learning. I'm learning from him. He's learning from me. And it's good for me. I like to learn. I enjoy learning. And I believe that Tyson feels the same way. And that's what makes us click in a special way, in a sense. So the fight, yeah, like you said, it was supposed to be a fight in July. Then there was a few more dates and nothing ever happened. I understand that there's a different time in the world right now with this COVID virus going around. And things have to be changed. There have to be adjustments made. And it's just the way it is right now. We have to, as humans, we have to adjust and adapt. And this is something that we will just have to adapt and adjust to and move on, living our lives and living our lives.
You mentioned that relationship and that bond that you've been able to quickly strike up with Tyson during that camp. Talk to us about the first time that you met him. I've spoken to Tyson about it. I've spoken to Andy about it in the past of when Tyson picked up his bags and one day turned up in Detroit. What are your earliest memories of meeting Tyson Fury?
My earliest memory is, of course, him walking into the gym and someone telling me that this is the next heavyweight champion of the world coming here. And I just saw this big white guy. And that was pretty much it. I was busy working in the gym, so I don't really pay attention to anybody when I'm working. I have more of a tunnel vision. And Tyson walks in, and we were introduced. And he was looking for Emanuel. Emanuel wasn't there at the time. I told him he can change and get dressed for a workout. I watched him work out. I was surprised at what I saw with his athleticism, his movement, and his stamina. And I just wanted to see more. I just had to wait till another day to see more. And I saw more on February 22nd.
You certainly did. We've mentioned his name a couple of times. Just mentioned Emanuel's name there. Your late great uncle, legendary trainer. He's famous for what his premonition was. He predicted Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder would go on to be two dominant heavyweights down the line. Is that something that you saw early in Tyson as well, or was he a surprise to you?
I did see that early in Tyson. Me and Emanuel talked. He talked to me about a lot of things in life and different fighters. I believe what he said. And for me, it's just happy being able to carry it out, to be somewhat of a soldier to some of his premonitions. And it's a great feeling for me to be able to continue that legacy that he had and what he taught me, and for us still to be talking about Emanuel and things that he saw or saw before anybody else and had predictions on. It's good.
It certainly is good. You mentioned carrying on that legacy. Emanuel is kind of credited for more the modern era of heavyweights, the work that he did with Lennox Lewis, with Vladimir Klitschko. You've been around those fighters. Of course, you obviously would have heard from Emanuel. Where would you rate Tyson Fury talent-wise with a Lennox Lewis, with a Vladimir Klitschko? How does he rank up against those guys, in your opinion?
I think Tyson has characteristics that both of those fighters have and more. Tyson Fury as a fighter. He has all the tools that Vladimir had, all the tools Lennox Lewis had, and he has an extra charisma, extra character that both of those fighters lacked outside of boxing, which makes him a totally different fighter than both of them. He's I guess, more of a talkative fighter. Vladimir didn't talk, Lennox didn't talk. They were just straight business. But Tyson has this extra swag, this extra attitude that pulls him and takes him to another gear that those fighters didn't have.
Now, in the past, people have spoken about Tyson's relationship with Peter Fury, of course, his uncle, who trained him when he boxed Vladimir Klitschko, and mentioned the fact that, Peter was somebody who was able to channel Tyson and get him to concentrate. While obviously you've had enormous success with Tyson in the one fight that you've had with him, from what I can see, you look like you try and kind of bring out the gregarious nature of Tyson and really kind of accentuate all of those natural gifts that he has, as it were, outside of the ring. Would that be fair?
That sounds good to me. I like the way you put it. I would have never thought about it and put it that way. So, yeah, cheers on that.
Is that something that you do consciously, though? Are you very much kind of give him freedom to express himself, etc.?
Well, that's his personality. So I definitely wouldn't try to change that, because then Tyson Fury wouldn't be who he is and wouldn't be that exciting fighter that we all come to know it now. Tyson's going to talk about what he's going to do, and he's going to back it up. There's not many fighters out there that can and will do it that way. He's one of them, a special person. Everybody has a different attitude. Everybody has a different personality. And this personality that Tyson has is something that doesn't come along every day, every other day. You have a lot of talented fighters out there. So many fighters that are talented just as well as Tyson. But being able to have all of those characteristics together is something different.
You received widespread praise for Tyson Fury's transformation in the Wilder rematch. Of course, we saw him come forward. He did, as you just said there, everything that he told us he was going to do before the fight. He went out and executed it. How difficult was that to implement those changes in his style? And what specific changes did you make in him from a technical point of view?
I'll tell you what, for me, it wasn't that easy. We had a relationship already. We talked, we communicated. Tyson trusted me 100 plus 2,000%. And he's like a soldier as well. I'm sure he was probably never a difficult fighter to train when his uncles trained him. His father, anybody trained him, because if he wants that person to train him, he's going to trust him. He's going to do what they tell him to do. He's going to make some adjustments on his own if he has to. That's Tyson Fury. That's a fighter. That goes along with his boxing IQ. So for Tyson and myself working together and implementing the game plan and training and me getting through to him, it was pretty much easy. I know, people thought maybe it would be difficult because of the short time that we had together, but it wasn't. What I had planned for the fight and the fight plan and the strategies and different things we worked on, he never questioned anything. Some of the things may have been, maybe he didn't get right away, but he would ask questions like a student, like a real student. And I would explain it to him. Maybe if he didn't understand it the first way I said it, then I would have to just do a different way. But he trusted 100% in the game plan and what I had planned for him to do with Deontay Wilder in that fight. And we're continuing to do the same thing during just training, not preparing for one particular person, but just training to make him better, to make him understand boxing more and different things and have a different outlook on boxing with that crunk style, that knockout style. Just go get him out of here, be exciting. That's what I live for.
Let's just talk about that. What I was going to come on to next. We did an interview with John Fury after the Wilder rematch. He described you, and it was a brilliant way of describing somebody, as a man who trains other men to destroy other men. Talk to us about your training philosophy and what it means to be a cronk fighter.
See, everybody says something. Everybody says it much better than me. I'm just simple and basic, pretty much. I have a different side of me too as well, but because this is a business for me as well, I want to be the best. I want to do my best and give it 100%. I'm just straight to the point and get the job done. So yeah, what Big John said, I like it. If you don't mind, would you say it again, please?
He said that Sugar Hill trains other men to destroy other men.
I might have to take that. I like that. I like it a lot. Put that on quotes. Make it just some kind of historic saying, not just for me, but just in general. Like they say, hard work pays off. We can make that saying one of those kind of things.
Yeah, we can get you some merchandise, maybe a T-shirt, maybe Big John's face on the front. Is that going to be Tyson from here on out? Are you obviously you've mentioned there you're from the Kronk gym. The Kronk gym is very much, if you've got the opportunity to get your man out of there, go and take care of business, get him out of there. We've seen Tyson in the past box on the back foot against Vladimir Klitschko. We've seen him show various different wrinkles to his game. Is he now going to be, Tyson Fury, the aggressive seek and destroy fighter that we saw last February?
I guess we have to wait till the next fight. If they hurry up and get something else for him. Maybe we'll do something else. Maybe I train him to do something else. We're in the gym and working on different things. So I guess it just depends on what he has to and what he needs to use for that particular fight. But I guess to make it short, yeah, let's go out here and just knock somebody out, get the knockout, just go home. Keep it simple.
You talk about his next fight. I appreciate you mentioned at the start of the interview that you're very much part of the training team. You're not part of the management or the promotional team. So I'm not asking for you to tell me who he's going to fight next. But from a training perspective, who would you want to see him fight next?
Whoever the best is. There are some top guys in the division. I would definitely like to see him fight Anthony Joshua. I would definitely like to see Tyson in another fight with Deontay Wilder if that's what it is. It doesn't really matter to me. I would just like to see Tyson fight the best fighters in the world, best competition. Any fighter who's worked their way up to be the best fighter, and that's supposed to be the best challenge. That's what I would like to see Tyson. That's who I would like to see in front of Tyson Fury.
Do you think Anthony Joshua presents the biggest risk to Tyson Fury compared to, say, a trilogy fight with Deontay Wilder?
No, I can't say that. Everyone's on the top level, so you have to take everyone. You have to go into these fights taking everyone as if they pose the biggest threats, period. See how simple I am?
You are very simple. It's very refreshing. What I like about you, Sugar,
it's not exciting. It's not exciting.
You don't waste words.
No, it's not exciting. It's not glare and flare and all that stuff. Making it pretty. It's simple. Try to keep it simple, just to stay on the right path.
What did you make of Anthony Joshua's performance against Kubrick Pulev?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was exciting. I thought it showed a lot of different things in Anthony Joshua.
Care to elaborate?
It was exciting. From what I've heard from other people, I haven't watched Anthony Joshua Ruiz Part 2. I didn't watch it. So from what I heard, from what I saw, and from what I heard, the first, the Anthony Joshua second fight was more of a patient Anthony Joshua. Didn't take any risk, that much risk. He kind of just stuck to the game plan. The last fight he had, he let it all out again. So it was an enjoyable fight. There were moments where the fight you thought it would be stopped early. You got heavyweights, both of them are punchers, so you never know what's going to happen in the heavyweight division. That's why it's the granddaddy of the divisions, and it was just an exciting fight. I thought Anthony Joshua did very well, very well.
Just going back to your time spent with Tyson before the Wilder rematch, I spoke to Andy in March, flew over to Ireland and spoke to him after the fight. And he told me about certain happenings in the camp with Tyson and the mind games and the feigning of injuries and things like that. What sort of stuff was going on behind the scenes, and what was that like for you as the trainer to deal with?
For me to deal with whatever was going on in camp is normal. I expect everything in training camp, so I have to be mentally prepared, as a fighter has to be mentally prepared going into these fights, whether it's a big fight or a little fight. sort of say every fight's a big fight, but I have to be prepared, and it didn't bother me at all. I've been around boxing pretty much my whole life, and I've seen so many different things. This training camp wasn't something of anything different that I haven't saw or expected. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as Andy said it. Andy had a little bit. Andy was a little bit more different than me. I'm more calm and everything. Andy has his own emotions and things like that. And, you know, we work well together. I've known Andy for quite some time, and it's just our personalities. And he saw things or felt things different than I felt, and that's only normal. So yeah, for me, it was a piece of cake, and I like sweets.
Let's just talk about Andy Lee. I'm sure he'll be. He's a very humble man, as you know. I'm sure he won't want us to talk about him, but let's talk about him anyway. He's credited as the man who gave you a call and recommended yourself to Tyson Fury. Just talk to us a little bit about your background with Andy Lee. Of course, he's a product of the Kronk Gym, had a very close relationship with your uncle Emanuel. You've worked his corner for numerous fights. Talk to us about your relationship with Andy.
Well, we lived together for about 7 years in the same house. I think that says a lot. You know, the time that we spent together was like every day in the same house, waking up for breakfast, cooking. Either I'm cooking breakfast, he's cooking breakfast for himself, or me for myself. And we cooking for each other. We both sitting around with Emanuel, watching Emanuel, talking with Emanuel, going to the gym, going home, going to the mall, going running, going bowling. Just we spend a lot of time together. And you'll hear me sometimes, most of the time when I address Andy, I say, "Hey, what's happening, brothers?" Brother, you know, I have to say it in my Irish accent. And pretty much it's just close. We're close. We can talk about anything. If I have a problem, even if it's a personal problem, I can talk to Andy as well as Andy can talk to me. And that's just how we are. So yeah, Andy Lee gave me a call regarding possibly if I wanted to train Tyson Fury for the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury rematch. And yeah, I accepted. And here we are now, moving forward, waiting for another big fight.
I did an interview with Andy, actually, it was before the first Wilder fight, where we discussed his time spent with Emanuel. And he told me that not a day goes by without him doing something that Emanuel taught him, or doing something that Emanuel kind of had an influence on. I'm sure you're no different in that regard. What main things have you taken away from the period of time with your uncle, the great Emanuel Steward?
One big major thing is treat people how you want to be treated. See how simple I am? If you need to make some kind of a serious decision on anything, maybe somebody done something wrong to you, but you know, try to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, how would I want that person to treat me had I done something like that to that person? Or just any other kind of decision. Just put yourself in that that person's shoes. It's a little bit difficult to do, to take yourself out of being yourself and to put yourself try to put yourself as being somebody else, to make a conscious and fair decision. That's one of the things that I've learned, and that I think about a lot, that sticks with me from Emanuel. There's so many more other things. Like I said, pretty much my whole life has been around him. So that's like my father. So a son with a father is going to pick up so many things from his father during his course of his life. And those things will be used throughout my life and passed on to, you know, whoever I can pass it on to, next generation.
The final one on Emanuel really is something that, again, I spoke to Andy about, who was very open and discussed the time that he spent with Emanuel shortly before he passed. How big of a void did Emanuel's passing leave in your life?
Well, I don't want to say it's a void in a sense like that, because I learned so much from him. I mean, naturally, I miss him, and yeah, but the time that we spent together, I don't look at it as being like a sad thing just because of the time that we spent together and what I learned from him and what he taught me. And part of the way I feel now is something that was that he taught me as well. Just you have to keep moving. You learn things in life. You have to keep moving on, and just continue doing what you've been doing. Yeah, I learned so much from him. So everything I do, you know, a lot in life is through me learning and watching from him. So I think about him every day, and something that I do. And it's just a lot of good times, and to keep me going. A lot of positive moments, a lot of things that have enriched my life to deal with a lot of different situations in life, similar to what I had to deal with for over 4 hours last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't imagine Emanuel Steward would have been sat there for 4 hours listening to that. But you obviously knew him far better than I did, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just do something different. I know Emanuel probably wouldn't have done it either. Most likely, it was 200% he wouldn't have done it, but I did it. So here I am. I'm still here.
Final couple before I let you go, Sugar. I do appreciate your time. When I last spoke to Andy, he told me that he was shocked that you hadn't been, you know, badgered and approached by various fighters looking to come and train with you. The last time I heard from you in your post-fight interview after the fight, you said that you were going to retire and go and train amateurs. What's the latest with that? Are you looking to bring more people, more professionals into your stable? Are you looking to take more time with the amateurs when amateur boxing opens up?
Well, I'm definitely 100% into boxing. I love boxing. I don't eat, sleep, drink, breathe boxing 24/7. I don't do it. Something that I was told not to do. I enjoy other outlets, other things to do. Yeah, I enjoy golf. So I spend a lot of time playing golf, watching, learning different things. Some reading. Yeah, so I mean, I just live a normal life like everyone else. I was told if I sit there and watch this boxing all the time, every day, all day, it's like I'm crazy. Boxing is somewhat of a crazy sport. You know, the bell rings, you go out there and you're trying to really hurt somebody. You know, we use the word kill. You're trying to kill somebody, just rip their head off. But when that bell rings again, it's like, oh, hey, you know, there's another man standing in front of you, and you have that respect for him, just as well as, you know, he would have for you. So it's kind of a crazy sport, but we love it.
We certainly do. Final question from me, Sugar, as we prepare for another year of uncertainty. What would constitute a successful year for you, Sugar Hill?
Just staying positive, staying busy, continuing to teach, continuing to learn. And I think that's a lot right there. I just try to stick with what keeps me moving forward, what keeps me to be able to contribute to the world in a positive way.
And final question, because I forgot to ask you this earlier. I spoke to Mr. Eddie Hearn, who told me that he was 90% sure that we would see Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua this year. I'm going to go for 100% because I'm a boxing fan. How does that fight go this year if we see Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury for all of the marbles at heavyweight?
I think you know that answer.
I'm asking you.
Tyson Fury, but I think you know it already. Tyson Fury knocks out Anthony Joshua.
How many rounds?
Early. So now with me saying that, when that fight happens or starts to people start to prepare for that fight, you have to say, hey, I'm not gonna let him knock me out early. Be cautious. I don't know. I'm just messing around. You could go into that fight and try to be cautious and still get caught. Or you can go in there and say, hey, you know what? Let me get to him first. I don't know. It's all kind of game plans and strategy. I'm just throwing something out there for anybody who wants it.
Okay, Sugar, it's a real pleasure catching up with you. Thanks very much for making some time for me in Boxing Social this morning. I hope to do it again sometime soon. I promise I will never keep you for 4 hours. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Listen, let me tell you something. I wasn't kept for 4 hours, just to make it clear for everybody. I was there for 4 hours on my own choice. I could have been done a long time ago, but I was just like, hey, whatever. Give the people what they want sometimes.
Okay, well maybe I will have you for 4 hours next time.
Yeah, maybe. See, you keep trying to threaten me or trying to pull my car like that. I might do 5 hours with you.
You're always welcome.
Make you wish you never said 4 hours. The next
You're
time
always
you
welcome.
keep your mouth shut.
Sugar Hill, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. You have yourself a good day. I hope to catch up with you sometime soon.
Okay, thank you. Good talking to you. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Thanks, Sugar. Bye.